The Man in the Field. Last summer, I decided to visit my grandparents' old farmhouse in rural Ohio. It had been abandoned for years after they passed away, but I wanted to see it one last time before it was sold. The house, surrounded by fields of tall corn, always had an eerie vibe, but nostalgia got the better of me. When I arrived, the house was just as I remembered. Creaky floors, dusty furniture, and the faint smell of my grandma's lavender perfume. After spending the day cleaning and reminiscing, I decided to explore the surrounding fields as the sun began to set. I used to play hide-and-seek there with my cousins when we were kids. As I wandered through the tall corn, I felt a strange sense of being watched. Dismissing it as paranoia, I continued until I reached the old scarecrow in the middle of the field. It had always freaked me out as a kid. Now its burlap face and straw body looked even more weathered and sinister. Just as I was about to turn back, I heard a rustling sound behind me. I spun around but saw nothing but endless rows of corn. My heart pounded, and I told myself it was just the wind. As I walked back towards the house, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. That night, after settling into one of the old bedrooms, I found it hard to sleep. Around midnight, I heard a faint tapping on the window. I froze. It was so soft at first, I thought I might be imagining it, but then it grew louder, more insistent. Gathering my courage, I approached the window and peeked out through a crack in the curtains. My breath caught in my throat. Standing in the moonlight at the edge of the cornfield was a man. He was tall and thin, dressed in old, tattered clothes, and his face was obscured by shadows. He stood perfectly still, staring directly at the house. I backed away from the window and grabbed my phone to call the police, but of course there was no signal. Terrified, I decided to stay inside and wait until morning. I barricaded the door with a chair and tried to stay calm. The tapping stopped, but every so often I'd hear footsteps outside, crunching on the gravel driveway. At one point I heard the back door rattle, as if someone was trying to open it. I stayed up all night, clutching a kitchen knife, praying for daylight. When the first light of dawn broke, I cautiously opened the front door and looked outside. The man was gone, but in his place was the scarecrow, now standing right at the edge of the cornfield, closer to the house than it had ever been before. Its burlap face seemed to grin at me. I didn't waste any time. I grabbed my things, jumped in my car, and sped away, not looking back. I haven't returned since, and the farmhouse has been sold to new owners. I don't know who or what I saw that night, but I hope I never find out.